Georgia versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss clipped Georgia last year. I wonder if the Dogs are looking for a little bit of revenge at home. Now going up against Ole Miss. Joe, when you look at this game and you preview this game, how do you see things going down?
Blake, we talked about this in the recap of Georgia's win over Auburn. The most important thing, first and foremost, is Georgia has to get after the passer. I mean, they got to get after Trinidad Chambliss. Georgia's a 7.5-point favorite at home. It's a big advantage that they're getting a home game. Trinidad Chambliss is not the quarterback that you want to give time to operate.
Yes.
And we saw this in the LSU game. Even when LSU had a defense that could pressure and disrupt Chambliss, he still found time and created time for himself. Imagine what he's going to do when he does have free space. That, to me, is the biggest fear if you are a Georgia fan coming into this game. But inversely, I do not feel that this Ole Miss team is as good as a lot of people have made them out to be. Their run defense is abysmal, 119th in EPA per rush. And I think that with the rushing struggles that they had against Auburn is a single game circumstance where they struggled. I think that we're going to see the run game start to pick up again for Georgia and their offense be able to put up points in bunches at a much more effective rate. The most important part about all this, I think Kirby, as we've always seen in game-altering, season-altering games where they must win, where they absolutely need to win, they come out with a victory. They got to win this game because the momentum that they get from it propels them into an SEC championship game, potentially. It propels them into the college football playoff. This is a must-game spot for this team, and it's going to all come through them generating production on the ground.
Look, I've seen this Ole Miss team up close and personal, and I agree with you. I don't think that this run defense, this front seven, is a good one at all. What bothered me about LSU's performance against Ole Miss is you got away from the run. You didn't even try to attempt to really run the football the way that you needed to. And Georgia's been very stubborn in trying to run the football. When I look at Georgia and I say to myself, from a rushing offense standpoint, I know that you've been around 185. The Auburn game's a little bit chaotic in the sense of that Auburn ran 40 plays in the first half to your 12. And you came away with a win and a victory against a very tough opponent at home in a rivalry game where Hugh Freeze's job is on the line. This run defense for Ole Miss is abysmal. They're 94th in the country in rushing yards per game allowed at 157.7. I do think that they've been decent in their secondary. Look, scoring defense has not been bad. They're only giving up 20 points a game, 19 points a game. So I look at them, Joe, and say that they've been a very bend but don't break defense. As bad as they've been, they've kind of clamped down in the red zone. It's why they're so good in the red zone defensively from a statistical analysis standpoint. They've been really good in pass coverage. They let everything stay in front of them and try to make tackles, which has propelled them. But I agree with you on this game. If you can't generate pressure versus Trinidad Chambliss, which was a problem for LSU, he's going to run all over you. And I don't really buy in yet that the Washington State thing was as chaotic. I do think that there was a little look ahead and they were able to find a way to win. But I look at this game and say to myself, I know Alabama was able to go into Athens and win. I don't know if Ole Miss can. It's just a strength versus weakness matchup where I think that, man, your run defense has been so bad against a team that will be stubborn and run the football on you over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Joe, I'm pretty confident in Georgia this week. I do think they're going to knock off Ole Miss. I think they're going to lean on the running game, maybe a little bit too much in situations. And they're going to make Pete Golding's life a living hell when they're unable to stop the run. The thing about Ole Miss offensively against this Georgia defense, Lane will carve you up now. And the secondary has shown that they will give up explosive plays through the air. And Trinidad Chambliss can make those throws. if I'm Georgia, I'm also pretty nervous about my secondary right now and giving up explosive plays.
Yeah, they definitely need to be prepared for it. Just overall, it's going to be troubling trying to handle Chambliss having time to operate. And if he's able to extend plays and find guys later on, and that has been part of the issue where Georgia's secondary has played poorly, not because they're losing reps, it's because they have so much time that they have to cover because no one's getting home. All their pressures have to come off of like CJ Allen type of pressures where he's getting sent. When you're in coverage that long, it's really hard to succeed on a consistent basis. So when you've got this Ole Miss receiving group that does have some speed, after a couple of seconds, yeah, those guys are going to get open. They need to find more ways to manufacture pressure. And this is one of those games kind of in line with what we talked about with Notre Dame. I think that if you're Georgia, knowing the 3 deep, maybe even 4 deep, if we want to be aggressive with all the different guys that they've given touches to with Cash Jones, Chauncey Bones, Nate Frazier, and also Josh McCray, lean on those guys. Lean on them. This should be a game where you come out of it with 30-plus rushing attempts.
Oh, I think that's too low.
So maybe even 40 and run up that time of possession. This is a game where if your defense, and this should be the approach going forward, if you know that your run game could get going, and the Auburn game is not going to be the norm, if you can make that happen, help your defense out by keeping them off the field. Get them rested. Keep them rested as much as possible because at the current moment, the group that's rushing the passer is just not getting it done. And Trinidad Chambliss having time to move and do his thing is only going to create more and more headaches.
Outside of Bama, man, you faced off against some really good offenses. This one's different in the sense of Trinidad can actually run. And your biggest weakness is being able to get after those guys. So I'm with you there. I fully agree. And look, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to take Georgia and win. I think they do get it done. I think this one's closer than the experts think, though. All right. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I might even actually take Georgia to cover in this situation. If they can get their run game going, I'd be willing to say that they win by 8 or more.
I'm not there yet because I think Trinidad can do some things where it's like, man, if he does get a late score, they run the football. I can't get there yet. Maybe by Wednesday I can get there.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited for this, though. It'll be a good game.